The science of sleep hides some of the most peaceful facts in all of nature, and tonight we'll drift through them together. I'm George, your calm guide through the quiet side of science. For years, I've told soft, slow stories that help curious minds unwind and fall asleep while learning something real. Tonight, we'll explore the most relaxing facts about sleep, why the brain slows its rhythm like a tide, how dreams help us heal, and why the body restores itself best in darkness and silence. So settle in, close your eyes, and let these gentle discoveries carry you toward rest. Sleep is not a simple escape from the world, but a vital necessity, something that shapes memory, protects health, and influences the way we think and feel. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, you can like and subscribe, or share your thoughts in the comments below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is relax, breathe deeply, and allow your mind to soften as we embark on this quiet journey together. Sleep remains one of the most enduring mysteries in science. We know it is essential, but not fully why. Why should organisms lose awareness and become vulnerable for hours each day? Why do brains create dreams so vivid and strange? Some theories suggest that sleep conserves energy, repairs the body, or processes memory. Others believe it prunes neural connections, trimming what is no longer needed. Each idea holds some truth, but none explains everything. Even more puzzling is the diversity of sleep across species. Some animals rest with half their brain awake. Some hardly sleep at all, while others dream extravagantly. The fact that evolution preserved sleep across billions of years suggests that it serves a deep, irreplaceable role. Yet the full picture continues to elude us. Every night we surrender to something both universal and inexplicable, a riddle wrapped in silence. Dreaming may be one of the strangest human experiences, a theater of the mind where impossible things happen yet feel real. But its purpose remains unsettled. Some scientists suggest that dreams help consolidate memory, weaving daytime experiences into long-term knowledge. Others propose that they regulate emotion, helping us process stress and trauma. Still others see dreams as random bursts of brain activity, stitched into stories by the mind's endless need for narrative. The truth may hold a piece of each theory. Dreams are often emotionally powerful, vivid, and bizarre, filled with images of flying, falling, or running through strange landscapes. They leave lingering feelings, even when the details fade. Why we dream may never be fully answered, but perhaps that mystery is part of their power. Dreams remain untamed, mysteries within a mystery. The secret nights hidden inside every life. Every animal with a brain needs some form of sleep. It is not a human invention, but something woven into the very fabric of biology. From insects to elephants, creatures slip into cycles of rest and activity that sustain life. That universal need suggests that sleep is as ancient as the first nervous systems, written into life's earliest instructions. When you watch a fruit fly pause, wings folded and still, you are witnessing the same fundamental rhythm that governs your own nights. Sleep allows every living being to reset, repair, clear away waste, and strengthen memory. Though the patterns vary from long, deep stretches to scattered naps, the fact that all species share it reveals something profound. Sleep is not optional. It is as essential as eating, breathing, or drinking water. Even jellyfish, creatures without a brain, show sleep-like behavior. At night, they pulse more slowly, drift toward the seafloor, and become less responsive to disturbances. When deprived of this rest, they behave sluggishly, just as a tired person might. This discovery astonished scientists because it hinted that sleep might not depend on having a brain at all. Perhaps it began as a way for cells to conserve energy long before complex nervous systems evolved. In jellyfish, sleep is stripped to its essence, a balance between activity and rest that keeps life in rhythm. It is humbling to think that these swaying creatures of the ocean may be showing us the earliest origins of something we still struggle to understand in ourselves. Humans spend about 1/3 of life asleep. If you live to 90, you will have spent about 30 years resting in the soft mystery of night, more time than you devote to almost anything else. But those hours are not lost. Sleep is a quiet workshop where the body is repaired, memory consolidated, and the brain fine-tuned. Without those nightly intervals, our waking lives would crumble. In those 3 decades of rest, the immune system strengthens, experiences replay and rewire, and the architecture of thought reshapes itself. Sleep is not downtime. It is construction time. And though we rarely remember it, those invisible years form the foundation for everything we do awake. Life is not 2/3 waking and 1/3 sleeping. It is one whole existence built equally by both. The longest someone has ever stayed awake was 11 days. In 1964, a high school student named Randy Gardner attempted a strange experiment, staying awake for more than 260 hours. At first, he simply grew tired. Then his mood collapsed, his memory faltered, and his thinking began to fragment. By the end, he was hallucinating, mistaking street signs for people and seeing things that were not there. Yet after finally sleeping, he recovered. His record stands as both a legend and a warning, proof of how fragile the human mind becomes when deprived of rest. Few have dared to repeat it, not only because it is punishing, but because we now understand how dangerous it can be. The human body is not designed to go without sleep. 11 days marks the edge of the impossible. Sleep deprivation can be more dangerous than hunger. A person can survive weeks without food, but only days without sleep before body and mind unravel. Rats deprived of rest die faster than those denied food. Even mild sleep loss weakens coordination, raises blood pressure, clouds judgment, and impairs immunity. After just 24 hours awake, your reactions slow as much as if you were legally drunk. Push further and hallucinations creep in, your perception warps, and your body begins to fail. In rare genetic disorders like fatal familial insomnia, the inability to sleep becomes fatal. Food nourishes the body, but sleep sustains the mind, a need deeper than hunger itself. A proof that rest is not luxury but survival. While you sleep, your brain cleans itself of toxins. During deep rest, channels open inside the brain and cerebrospinal fluid washes through like a gentle tide, clearing away metabolic waste and proteins that build up during the day. One of the substances swept away is beta-amyloid, associated with Alzheimer's disease. This nightly cleansing, known as the glymphatic system, prevents harmful clutter from accumulating. During waking hours, the process slows, but in the stillness of sleep, it surges. Scientists believe this explains why sleep feels so restorative, why the fog of fatigue lifts when we wake. It is not just that energy returns. It is that the brain has been washed and renewed, polished for another day of thought. Dreams also help your brain process emotions. When we dream, we often revisit moments that stirred anxiety, joy, or sadness. Studies show that the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, becomes highly active in dreams while stress chemicals drop to their lowest levels. In that calm space, the mind replays difficult experiences and softens their edges, transforming pain into something bearable. A good night's sleep can ease a heavy mood or lighten grief, because the brain has been quietly working through the emotions. Dreams may not erase pain, but they help us live with it, a form of therapy woven invisibly into the night. Some people dream entirely in black and white. Not all dreamscapes appear in color. For some, dreams unfold in shades of gray, like an old television show. In the mid-20th century, when most media was black and white, such dreams were common. Today, surrounded by color, they are rare. This suggests that dreams may be shaped not just by biology, but by culture and experience. Yet for a portion of people, grayscale dreams persist, quiet worlds of contrast and shadow. No one knows why. Perhaps their visual systems work differently, or perhaps memory stores images without color to save energy. Whatever the reason, it reminds us that even in sleep, perception is personal. Dolphins sleep with half their brain awake, living in a world where they must breathe consciously and remain alert to danger. Dolphins have evolved a remarkable adaptation called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. One half of the brain rests while the other stays awake. One eye closes while the other watches. After a while, they switch. This allows them to swim, surface, and stay safe while still resting. To us, sleep feels like surrender. To dolphins, it is balance, a graceful compromise between vigilance and renewal. Birds, too, have learned to nap while flying. Frigate birds, which soar for days above open oceans, have been observed gliding in brief bursts of unihemispheric sleep. These micro-rests, only seconds long, let them survive journeys of thousands of miles without ever landing. Though they sleep far less in the air than on land, they still function, proving that sleep is flexible, reshaped by survival itself. Even in the endless sky, with wings spread and eyes half closed, rest finds a way. Giraffes sleep less than 2 hours a day. Despite their towering height and calm appearance, these gentle giants rest for only brief moments, usually a few minutes at a time. In the wild, their long necks and legs make lying down and standing up a slow and risky process, leaving them vulnerable to predators. So instead of deep, prolonged slumber, giraffes snatch fragments of rest while standing or curled briefly on the ground. Remarkably, these short bursts are enough. Giraffes remain healthy and alert, showing that even minimal sleep can sustain life. For them, survival has sculpted sleep into something fleeting and rare, proof that nature adapts rest to fit every need. Cats, on the other hand, are the dreamers of the animal kingdom. Domestic cats often sleep 12 to 16 hours a day, sometimes even longer. These long naps echo their wild ancestors, who conserved energy for short, intense hunts. Big cats like lions and tigers also spend much of their day asleep, gathering strength for their next pursuit. For household cats, napping may seem indulgent, but it's an ancient survival strategy. They drift between light dozing and deep sleep, their ears twitching at every sound. Always ready to wake in an instant, cats embody the perfect balance between relaxation and readiness. Watching a cat stretch, purr, and curl again is like watching evolution's most elegant expression of rest. Among all mammals, the platypus may be the most devoted sleeper. This peculiar semi-aquatic creature spends up to 8 hours each day in REM sleep, the phase most associated with vivid dreaming. Their brains grow highly active during this time, eyes flickering beneath closed lids, bodies occasionally twitching. Scientists believe this abundance of REM might link to ancient motor patterns, rehearsals of movement that became precursors to dreams. In the platypus, those primitive rhythms persist, offering a window into the early evolution of dreaming itself. It's as if this little mammal carries an ancestral dream world inside, connecting us to the dawn of sleep. Some people can control their dreams. This phenomenon, known as lucid dreaming, occurs when the dreamer realizes they are asleep, but remains within the dream. In that moment of awareness, the dreamer can sometimes fly, reshape surroundings, or summon people and places at will. Lucid dreaming has roots in spiritual traditions, but has now been verified by science. Brain scans show that during lucidity, certain regions stay active, bridging sleep and wakefulness. Some people stumble into lucid dreams by chance. Others cultivate them through practice, keeping dream journals or performing reality checks during the day. For those who master it, lucid dreaming becomes a realm of creativity, healing, and exploration, a gentle awakening inside sleep itself. Sleep also strengthens memory. When you study, learn a skill, or practice music, sleep is what locks those experiences into long-term storage. During deep sleep, the hippocampus replays memories and transfers them to the cortex. It's like running an overnight backup of everything important while pruning what's unnecessary. Without this process, learning remains fragile. With it, knowledge solidifies and becomes part of who we are. That's why pulling an all-nighter rarely works. The brain hasn't had time to store what it learned. Each night, sleep acts as an invisible teacher, weaving the day's lessons into lasting understanding. But sleep doesn't just protect memory, it guards its accuracy. Sleep-deprived brains struggle to distinguish between true memories and imagined ones. They become more susceptible to false recollections, certain that something happened when it did not. Even mild deprivation can twist recall, blending fact and fiction. It's as if the tired brain stitches its memories with loose threads, leaving blurred seams between truth and imagination. Sleep doesn't only help you remember, it helps you remember correctly. The most vivid dreams occur during REM sleep. This stage, marked by rapid eye movements beneath the lids, returns in cycles throughout the night, growing longer toward morning. In REM, the brain is almost as active as when awake. Visual centers flare, emotions surge, and fragments of memory knit together into strange stories. The body, however, remains paralyzed, safely restrained from acting out dreams. This paralysis protects us, but also makes REM uniquely fascinating. A still body with a wildly active mind. Many creative breakthroughs, songs, stories, discoveries may have emerged from this state. REM proves that even in rest, the brain never stops inventing worlds. Deep sleep repairs the body. In the slow, rhythmic waves of deep sleep, growth hormone surges, rebuilding tissues and strengthening muscles. Athletes rely on these phases to recover from strain, but everyone benefits. Each night, the body quietly repairs the small stresses of life, restoring strength and resilience. Without deep sleep, physical recovery slows, leaving us weak and fatigued. Deep sleep is not passive. It's the hidden workshop where the body rebuilds itself. Sleep also helps regulate appetite. Hormones called ghrelin and leptin control hunger and fullness, and sleep keeps them balanced. When we don't sleep enough, ghrelin rises and leptin falls, triggering cravings, especially for sugary, fatty foods. It's not simply lack of willpower, it's biology. The body, feeling depleted, seeks quick energy. Over time, This imbalance can lead to overeating and weight gain. Sleep resets that balance, quietly governing when we feel hungry or satisfied. A good night's rest, in this way, nourishes far more than the mind. It stabilizes the very rhythms that sustain life. When we're sleep deprived, those cravings intensify. Brain scans show that tired minds light up in reward centers when shown pictures of junk food, while self-control regions grow quiet. The result, irresistible desire for snacks and sweets. Some scientists even suspect that widespread sleep deprivation may contribute to modern obesity. When the body is exhausted, it cries for rest, but the mind misreads it as hunger. Sleep, then, is not just mental medicine. It's a subtle shield against cravings the body can't control when tired. Sleep also boosts the immune system. During deep rest, the body releases cytokines, proteins that fight infection and inflammation, and strengthens T cells, the white blood cells that hunt invading pathogens. People who sleep well are less likely to catch colds, respond better to vaccines, and recover faster from illness. Just a few nights of poor rest can leave you more vulnerable. Sleep is not simply recovery for the mind. It's defense for the body, a nightly rebuilding of your natural shield against disease. Those who sleep less fall ill more easily. In one famous study, volunteers exposed to the common cold virus were far more likely to get sick if they had slept fewer than 7 hours. The results were striking. The difference between catching a cold or staying healthy often came down to a single lost hour of rest. Chronic sleep loss doesn't just cause fatigue, it erodes the immune system, slows healing, and fuels inflammation. Over time, it increases the risk of heart disease, diabetes, even cancer. Sleep truly is medicine, one that costs nothing, yet heals everything. During deep sleep, the brain's energy use drops dramatically. Although vital processes like memory and repair continue, the overall energy demand lessens, allowing neurons to rest. This may be why deep sleep feels so rejuvenating. It's the brain's quiet reprieve after hours of endless activity. The slow, rolling waves of deep sleep sweep across neural networks like tides retreating from shore. It's not shutdown, but deliberate conservation. A pause that allows the brain to prepare for another day of thought. Sleep also helps the brain rewire itself through neuroplasticity, the ability to adapt and change. During the day, we form countless new connections, but they're messy and inefficient. At night, the brain prunes and strengthens these pathways, tending to its own garden of thoughts. Without this nightly pruning, learning remains tangled and shallow. With sleep, experiences take root and grow into lasting knowledge. Sleep, in this sense, is not just recovery from the past, but preparation for the future. Babies, more than anyone, live within dreams. Infants spend nearly half their sleep in REM, a time of vivid neural activity. Scientists believe this abundance of dreaming is vital for brain development. Babies absorb floods of new sensations each day, and their brains must integrate them rapidly. REM helps weave those experiences into memory and learning. The twitching limbs of a sleeping baby may be outward signs of this intense internal growth. As they age, the proportion of REM decreases, but in those early years, dreams are the silent architects of the mind. Newborns can sleep up to 17 hours a day, though rarely in long stretches. Their rest comes in short cycles, only 2 or 3 hours at a time, synchronized with feeding. Though exhausting for parents, this rhythm supports rapid brain growth. Even these fragmented cycles include REM and non-REM phases, consolidating early learning like recognizing a parent's voice. Human life, in its earliest form, begins in dreams. A newborn spends more time asleep than awake, as though practicing existence before fully entering the world. Teenagers, too, have their own sleep rhythm. During adolescence, the circadian clock naturally shifts later. Melatonin, the hormone that signals sleepiness, rises later in the evening than in children or adults. This makes teens biologically inclined to stay up late and sleep in. Unfortunately, school schedules often force them awake too early, creating widespread sleep deprivation. When schools start later, students show better moods, focus, and health. The tendency to stay up late isn't laziness, it's biology. Their clocks simply tick on a different schedule. Human sleep follows a repeating rhythm of about 90 minutes. Each cycle descends through light and deep sleep, then rises into REM before beginning again. Over the night, we experience 4 to 6 of these cycles, each slightly different from the last. Deep sleep early, dreaming late. This rhythm is the heartbeat of the night, a metronome guiding rest. Aligning wake times to the end of a cycle may even help you feel more refreshed. Since waking in deep sleep often brings grogginess, most people complete about 5 full sleep cycles each night, 5 descents into deep rest and 5 ascents into dream. Dreams lengthen toward morning, while deep sleep shortens. Those final hours are often the most dream-filled, which is why cutting sleep short deprives you of much of its emotional and cognitive restoration. Each night's journey through these 5 loops repair, renewal, and dreaming builds the foundation of your waking life. Across cultures, napping has always been both a luxury and a necessity. Modern science now suggests that short rests may also be linked to longevity. In Mediterranean regions, where the afternoon siesta still thrives, studies show that regular nappers are less likely to die from heart disease. The reason may be simple. Naps lower stress, ease blood pressure, and give the heart a brief but vital pause. They also refresh, focus, and balance mood, helping the body recover from the small stresses of daily life. Though research varies, the pattern is clear. A nap is not idleness. It is an investment in health, a quiet gift of time that restores more than it takes. In the soft silence of a nap, the body remembers something ancient, that rest itself is strength. A 20-minute nap can improve learning. These short rests, often called power naps, allow the brain to dip briefly into light sleep without entering the deeper stages that make waking difficult. In just those few minutes, focus sharpens, memory improves, and alertness returns. Students who nap after studying recall more. Pilots and surgeons often rely on these quick resets to maintain precision. Some workplaces even offer nap pods for employees to recharge midday. 20 minutes may seem insignificant, but it is enough for the mind to catch its breath. Proof that powerful restoration does not always require long hours, yet naps that stretch too long can leave you feeling groggy. Sleep lasting 30 to 60 minutes can slip into deep stages where waking becomes difficult. This fog, called sleep inertia, happens when the brain is caught mid-cycle, neurons still moving in slow rhythms. The result is heaviness, sluggish thought, and disorientation. Over time, long daytime naps may even disrupt nighttime sleep. Still, in cultures where siestas are woven into daily rhythm, longer naps coexist with later bedtimes, forming their own balance. For most of us, however, short naps remain the sweet spot, enough to refresh, but not so deep that we lose our footing in the day. In some monastic traditions, Even sleep becomes a spiritual practice. Buddhist monks, for instance, may train to rest while sitting upright in meditation posture. This keeps the mind close to wakefulness and reduces immersion in deep sleep. Some monks sleep only a few hours per night, distributed across small intervals, maintaining clarity and mindfulness. For them, sleep is not escape, but discipline, another aspect of awareness itself. To sleep upright, balanced and calm is to rest without surrender, to drift between worlds with grace. It reminds us that even rest can be mindful, that sleep can be shaped and refined as an art. Napoleon Bonaparte famously slept very little. The French emperor often claimed to need only 4 hours a night, napping briefly when necessary. He saw sleep as a waste of time, once remarking, 6 hours for a man, 7 for a woman, 8 for a fool. His relentless ambition left little room for rest. Yet history hints at the cost. Toward the end of his reign, he grew erratic, irritable, and exhausted. His empire might have been built on brilliance and drive, but his body bore the price of sleeplessness. Napoleon remains a symbol of the short sleeper, those rare few who seem to thrive on little rest. But for most, imitating him leads only to collapse. Even conquerors need dreams. Leonardo da Vinci is said to have practiced polyphasic sleep, short naps, scattered throughout the day instead of one long rest. The goal was to maintain creativity and energy around the clock. Whether the stories are entirely true is uncertain, but the idea has fascinated experimenters for centuries. The so-called Uberman schedule aims to replace a full night's sleep with a handful of naps, each providing brief bursts of REM and restoration. In practice, it is grueling and nearly impossible to sustain long-term. Still, the image of Leonardo sketching between tiny naps captures the spirit of boundless curiosity. For him, sleep itself may have been another canvas, something to study, shape, and explore. Thomas Edison, inventor of the light bulb, also distrusted sleep. He considered it a thief of time, believing that electric light could liberate humanity from the tyranny of night. Ironically, Edison himself napped frequently in his workshop chair. Those naps may have fueled his creativity, bridging fatigue with fresh insight. Yet his public disdain for sleep helped shape a culture that equates long hours with success and rest with weakness. Modern research reveals the truth Edison overlooked. Sleep enhances creativity and problem-solving. His genius may have flourished not despite sleep, but because of it. Those stolen naps were his secret experiments in restoration. Even people who are blind can dream vividly. Those who lose sight later in life often continue to see in their dreams, sometimes for years. People born blind experience dreams rich in sound, touch, scent, and movements, sometimes even flashes of visual imagery created entirely by the brain. This shows that dreams are not bound to the eyes, but to imagination itself. The mind builds worlds from all senses, weaving landscapes of sound and texture that can be as vivid as sight. Dreaming is not a replay of what the eyes have seen. It is a creation of what the brain can conceive. Many people experience recurring dreams that return across decades. The same scenes, flying, being chased, forgetting an exam, can appear again and again, sometimes years apart. These recurring dreams may reflect unresolved emotions, ongoing stress, or deep patterns in the mind. For the dreamer, they feel like messages or puzzles, stories waiting to be understood. Whether they hold hidden meaning or simply echo our neural rhythms, they remind us that the dream world is not random. It has continuity, a secret narrative that threads through our lives like a private mythology. Children experience more nightmares than adults. Their imaginations are raw, their emotions intense, and their brains still learning to manage fear. Nightmares of monsters or separation are common, often waking them in tears. Though distressing, these dreams may serve a purpose, helping children rehearse responses to danger in a safe, imaginary space. As they grow, the nightmares fade, replaced by calmer dreams. For a child, sleep is a landscape of wonder and fear intertwined. For adults, those early terrors become faint echoes, reminders of a time when imagination and reality were almost the same. Sleep paralysis blurs the border between dreaming and waking. During REM sleep, the body is paralyzed to prevent movement, but sometimes consciousness returns before the paralysis fades. The result is a terrifying experience awake, yet unable to move, often accompanied by vivid hallucinations. People describe feeling pressure on the chest or sensing a presence nearby. Across cultures, such episodes have inspired myths of demons, ghosts, or spirits. In truth, it is simply the overlap of dreaming and wakefulness. Though harmless, it can be deeply unsettling. Sleep paralysis reveals how fragile the boundary between worlds can be, how easily the dream can spill into reality. For centuries, nightmares were blamed on demons. In medieval Europe, they were thought to be caused by evil spirits sitting on a sleeper's chest, suffocating them. The word nightmare itself originally referred to the creature, the mare, rather than the dream. Similar myths appear across cultures, spirits pressing on sleepers, stealing breath, whispering in the dark. These stories likely came from real experiences of sleep paralysis, when terror feels both real and otherworldly. Over time, science replaced superstition, but the old language remains. Even now, when we call something a nightmare, we mean it feels inescapable. The word still carries the weight of ancient fear. Sleepwalking, or somnambulism, is another mysterious behavior. Most common in children, it occurs when parts of the brain controlling movement awaken while consciousness remains asleep. The sleeper may rise, wander, or even perform complex actions, eyes open but awareness absent. Usually harmless, it fades with age as the brain matures. For parents, watching a child move like a ghost through the house can be both eerie and awe-inspiring. Sleepwalking shows how porous the borders of sleep can be, how the body may act while the mind still dreams. In rare cases, people even eat in their sleep. A condition called sleep-related eating disorder causes individuals to prepare and consume food unconsciously, with little memory of it in the morning. Episodes can involve cooking, raiding pantries, or eating unsafe foods. It is like sleepwalking into the kitchen, driven not by hunger but by misfiring neural circuits. Though often benign, it can lead to injury or health issues. It reminds us that sleep is not always peaceful. Beneath its calm surface, the brain can act unpredictably, blending instinct with dream. Sleep talking is far more common. People may mumble, whisper, or even shout sentences in their sleep. It can happen in any stage, from deep, incoherent murmurs to light, clear speech. Most have no memory of it afterward, leaving bed partners puzzled or amused. Sleep talking reveals how active the brain remains at night. The networks of language can flicker to life even when consciousness is off. It's like overhearing your own mind talking to itself, fragments of thought escaping into the air. Some sleepers even sing. Reports describe people humming, reciting lyrics, or performing broken melodies while unconscious. It emerges from the same neural sparks that cause sleep-talking language and music centers half awake. The sound may be haunting or beautiful, like hearing a dream made audible. These moments remind us that creativity does not fully sleep. Even in unconsciousness, the mind continues to compose. Dogs twitch in their sleep because they are dreaming. If you have ever watched a dog lying peacefully, paws, jerking, whiskers, twitching, or soft barks escaping, you have witnessed the dream life of animals. Studies confirm that dogs experience sleep stages similar to humans, including REM sleep, where dreams occur. Puppies twitch more often than older dogs because their brains are still developing, practicing motor skills and reactions. Scientists believe that dogs dream about daily experiences, running, playing, exploring the world through scent and motion. Watching a dog sleep is like glimpsing the rehearsal of tomorrow's adventures or the echoes of today's joys. It is comforting to think that animals share not just the need for rest, but the mystery of dreaming itself. Rats dream too, and their dreams are surprisingly structured. When rats run through mazes, their brains form distinct firing patterns as they navigate. Later, during sleep, researchers record nearly identical patterns replaying, as though the rat is running the maze again in its dreams. Sometimes, the sequences are faster or reversed, suggesting the brain is rehearsing or analyzing what it learned. This replay helps consolidate memory and learning, just as it does in humans. The dreaming rat is studying in its sleep, practicing for the challenges ahead. Even in the smallest of brains, the language of dreams and memory is the same. Sleep loss affects emotion before intellect. When you miss a night of rest, your mind's first casualty is not intelligence, but mood. Irritability, anxiety, and sadness appear long before logical thinking falters. Brain scans reveal why. The amygdala, the region tied to fear and anger, becomes hyperactive, while the prefrontal cortex, the rational, calming voice, grows weaker. Without sleep, emotions surge unchecked, and patience fades. The world feels heavier, small frustrations loom large, and kindness grows harder to find. Sleep is not just restoration for the body, it is equilibrium for the heart. Without it, even the brightest mind cannot steady the storms within. Many believe that sleeping longer on weekends can erase lost rest, but sleep debt is not so easily repaid. While extra hours can ease fatigue, the brain cannot fully recover missed functions such as memory consolidation or immune repair. The body cannot store sleep for later. It requires nightly renewal. Chronic deprivation accumulates quietly, eroding mood, attention, and health even when we think we are coping. It is like skipping meals. Overeating tomorrow does not undo hunger today. The only true cure for lost rest is consistency, giving the body the regular rhythm it was built to follow. People who sleep less tend to weigh more. Across populations, short sleep correlates with higher body weight. The causes are both hormonal and behavioral. Lack of rest increases ghrelin, the hormone of hunger, and decreases leptin, the hormone of fullness, leading to stronger cravings and weaker satisfaction. Sleep-deprived individuals also crave high-calorie foods and burn energy less efficiently. Over time, this subtle imbalance can alter metabolism and appetite. Weight management is not just about diet or exercise, it is also about rhythm. Sleep quietly shapes the balance of the body, guiding hunger and energy in ways we barely perceive. Insomnia affects up to 1/3 of adults at some point in life. It is one of the most common sleep disorders, causing difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking too early. For some, insomnia is temporary, triggered by stress or disruption. For others, it becomes chronic, a nightly battle between exhaustion and wakefulness. The cruel paradox is that the harder one tries to sleep, the less likely it becomes. Anxiety fuels the cycle, turning rest into frustration. Treatments such as cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness, and relaxation techniques can help, but medication is only a temporary solution. Insomnia reminds us that sleep cannot be forced. It must be invited. It is not a switch, but a rhythm that needs trust and stillness. Women report insomnia more often than men. Hormonal cycles, pregnancy, and menopause can all affect sleep, making it lighter or more fragmented. Emotional and social factors play a role. Two caregiving responsibilities, stress, and the constant demands of modern life. Interestingly, despite higher rates of insomnia, women often show fewer severe physical effects from sleep loss, suggesting subtle biological differences in resilience. Yet the toll remains real. For countless women, night after night becomes a struggle for peace, caught between biology and circumstance. Even in rest, gender shapes experience. Curiously, no one knows who has taken the world's longest nap. While the record for staying awake is well documented, the opposite remains undefined. Sleep itself is difficult to measure precisely, and naps blur boundaries. When does a nap end and sleep begin? A 10-hour nap might simply be a short night's rest. Perhaps naps resist measurement because they belong to another category, entirely spontaneous, personal, and unplanned. Unlike endurance feats of wakefulness, a nap's beauty lies in its secrecy, in the gentle surrender that belongs only to the sleeper. A few rare individuals, known as short sleepers, thrive on just 4 to 6 hours of rest each night without apparent harm. Genetic variations, such as changes in the DEC2 or ADRB1 genes, alter how their brains regulate sleep need. These people wake refreshed and alert, while others would be exhausted on the same schedule. They live normal lives, often describing an unexpected gift of extra time. Some use those hours for creativity or productivity, while others simply enjoy longer days. Short sleepers prove that human biology can bend but not break the rules of rest. For most of us, trying to imitate them only leads to fatigue. Narcolepsy is the opposite extrema disorder that makes people fall asleep suddenly during the day. These sleep attacks can occur mid-conversation or at work, unpredictable and uncontrollable. Narcolepsy often includes cataplexy, a sudden loss of muscle tone triggered by emotion. Behind it lies a disruption in the brain's regulation of hypocretin, a chemical that maintains wakefulness. For those affected, life becomes a constant balancing act as the boundary between sleep and wake blurs without warning. Treatments can manage symptoms, but no cure yet exists. Narcolepsy reminds us that sleep is not simply rested, it is an active process the brain must orchestrate precisely. One of the strangest features of narcolepsy is how quickly dreams arrive. While most people take about 90 minutes to enter REM sleep, those with narcolepsy may begin dreaming within minutes, even while partially awake. This overlap causes vivid hallucinations that can feel completely real, merging dream and reality. For them, the veil between worlds is thinner than for anyone else. It reveals how close dreams always hover, waiting at the edges of consciousness. In REM sleep behavior disorder, the paralysis that normally accompanies dreaming breaks down. The body begins to act out, the dream shouting, punching, leaping from bed. These movements can be violent, sometimes injuring the sleeper or a partner. The condition is rare but significant because it often appears years before neurological disorders like Parkinson's disease. Scientists believe it may be an early warning sign of deeper changes in the brain. For the dreamer, however, it is a nightly collision of imagination and motion, reminder that even in the sanctuary of sleep, the mind and body remain entwined. Sleep apnea is another disruption, one that fragments rest hundreds of times a night. In obstructive sleep apnea, the airway collapses during sleep, cutting off breath until the brain wakes the body to resume breathing. These micro-awakenings shatter continuity, leaving the sleeper exhausted despite long hours in bed. Severe cases strain the heart, raise blood pressure, and increase risk of stroke. Treatment with continuous positive airway pressure, or CPAP, can be life-changing, keeping airways open and restoring deep rest. Sleep apnea reveals how even the simplest rhythm breathing can falter in sleep, turning quiet nights into unseen battles for air. Snoring, too, can disrupt sleep and reach astonishing volumes. Caused by vibrations in the relaxed tissues of the throat, loud snoring can exceed 80 decibels, comparable to heavy traffic. Though often dismissed as humorous, chronic snoring can signal underlying issues like apnea. For partners, it can be a nightly struggle between love and frustration. Yet snoring is universal. Even elephants snore deep rumbling sounds that echo like distant thunder as they rest. The image is both comic and tender, giants breathing heavily, their dreams resonating through the night. From humans to animals, the noises of rest remind us that silence is never absolute. Sleeping in darkness helps regulate the body's clock. The circadian rhythm depends on light and shadow. Darkness signals the brain to release melatonin, the hormone that induces sleepiness. Even small amounts of light, street lamps, screens, glowing clocks can delay this signal, disrupting rest. Over time, light pollution has been linked to insomnia and mood disorders. That is why sleep experts recommend blackout curtains, dimmed electronics, and darkened rooms. In darkness, the body remembers the ancient rhythm of night, aligned once more with the turning earth. Artificial light, especially blue light from screens, is particularly disruptive. It tricks the brain into thinking it is still daytime, suppressing melatonin and delaying sleep onset. Even dim light fragments rest and reduces quality. In evolutionary terms, our bodies were built for firelight, moonlight, and stars, not glowing rectangles. The clash between biology and technology has become one of modern life's greatest sleep challenges. To rest well, we must relearn darkness and let the night be night again at the poles. People live through months of endless daylight, followed by months of near darkness. Yet they adapt, creating routines with blackout curtains in summer and bright lamps in winter. These artificial cues help maintain circadian rhythm, though moods and energy often shift with the changing light. Sleep, in such places, becomes not just biological but cultural, a practice sustained by community and custom. Even where the sun forgets to set, humanity finds ways to dream. Jet lag is the body's confusion when time zones shift too quickly. Crossing several zones in hours leaves the internal clock out of sync with local light and dark. The result is fatigue, insomnia, irritability, and sluggish digestion. For every zone crossed, it can take about a day to adjust. Morning sunlight helps reset the clock, as does avoiding bright light at night. Astronauts face an extreme version of this: 16 sunrises and sunsets a day aboard the International Space Station. Managing light becomes essential to survival. proving again that sleep follows the rhythm of light. Wherever we go, in space, even sleep becomes alien. Without gravity, astronauts cannot lie down. There is no up or down at all. Instead, they sleep in small cocoon-like bags attached to the walls of their spacecraft, floating weightlessly. It sounds peaceful, but it is not easy. Noise, constant light cycles, and the absence of pressure on the body disrupt rest. Dreams in space often take on strange qualities shaped by the sensation of floating. Yet despite these challenges, rest remains essential. Fatigue in orbit can be deadly. Even among the stars, the body clings to its oldest rhythm, its need to close its eyes and drift. Sleep in space is lighter and more fragile than on Earth. Without gravity pressing us down, the body loses one of its strongest cues for rest. Astronauts float in weightlessness, surrounded by constant mechanical hum and frequent shifts in light, 16 sunrises and sunsets every 24 hours. Studies show that astronauts sleep less in orbit, and that their REM cycles are often shorter. They experience more awakenings and lighter stages of sleep. Over time, the lack of deep rest can lead to fatigue and slower reaction times, which are dangerous in space. Gravity, silence, and darkness, the ingredients of deep sleep on Earth, are luxuries above the planet. Among the stars, even sleep becomes a delicate act of adaptation. Dreams can be influenced by the sounds around us. Our sleeping minds are not sealed off from the world. A phone ringing may turn into a church bell in a dream, or the soft rhythm of rain may become footsteps on a forest path. Researchers have used this connection in experiments called targeted memory reactivation, playing gentle sounds linked to tasks learnt during the day. When the sleeping brain hears them, it often strengthens those memories, rehearsing them unconsciously. Even beyond the laboratory, we have all felt it. An alarm becoming part of a dream, a whisper blending into its story. Sleep is not isolation. It is dialogue. Even while dreaming, the world finds a way to speak. Lucid dreaming, the ability to recognize and control dreams, is not merely a rare accident. With practice, some people can learn to do it often. Techniques such as reality checks, dream journaling, and setting gentle intentions before bed help increase awareness within dreams. Over time, the dreamer begins to recognize patterns, realizes they are dreaming, and gains control over the unfolding story. In lucid dreams, one can fly, summon people or places, or explore entire worlds shaped by imagination. Scientific studies confirm its reality. Lucid dreamers have signaled researchers by moving their eyes in prearranged patterns while asleep. Beyond its wonder, lucid dreaming has therapeutic potential, helping people face fears, process trauma, and expand creativity. Sleep, then, is not just a surrender. It is a frontier of consciousness that can be navigated with care and curiosity. Keeping a dream journal can strengthen dream recall. Most people forget their dreams within minutes of waking, but writing them down immediately helps preserve the fragile details. The act of recording signals to the brain that dreams are important, building stronger memory pathways. Over time, the journal becomes a map of the inner world, filled with recurring places, faces, and themes. Some lucid dreamers use this as training, identifying signs that they are dreaming. Others simply treasure the strange beauty of their nightly stories. To journal a dream is to say to the mind, "I am listening." And in return, the mind begins to speak more clearly. Each morning's page becomes a doorway to the hidden world of the night. It's estimated that we forget up to 90% of our dreams. They fade almost instantly upon waking, slipping away like mist. This happens because the brain chemistry of sleep is different. Neurotransmitters that form memories, such as norepinephrine, are low during dreaming. Without these, the vivid experiences of sleep remain unanchored. As consciousness returns, they dissolve. Yet not all is lost. By rehearsing dreams upon waking or recording them, we can capture more. Perhaps dreams are meant to be fleeting, serving their purpose of processing emotions or organizing memory without crowding waking thought. Their transience gives them mystery, performances seen only once, fading before the curtain has fallen. Sometimes dreams solve problems that logic cannot. Throughout history, discoveries and creations have emerged from the sleeping mind. Chemist Auguste Kekule dreamed of a snake biting its tail, revealing to him the circular structure of benzene. Writers, inventors, and musicians have all reported similar inspirations. In sleep, freed from the limits of reason, the mind makes unexpected connections, weaving new ideas from old fragments. This is why the saying, "Sleep on it," endures. The brain continues to work while we rest. Sleep is not idleness. It is incubation. In its wandering, the mind may bring back treasures we did not know we sought. One of the most famous melodies in history, "Yesterday" by Paul McCartney, was born in a dream. He awoke with the tune fully formed in his head and at first believed he must have heard it somewhere before. Only later did he realize it was original. The song became one of the most recorded pieces of all time. McCartney described the experience as if a gift had been delivered from his unconscious mind. Dreams, it seems, can compose as easily as they can imagine, revealing that creativity often whispers to us while we sleep. Another dream changed the course of literature. In 1816, on a stormy night in Switzerland, a young Mary Shelley dreamed of a pale scientist kneeling beside a lifeless creature, seeing it stir with the spark of creation. That image became her novel Frankenstein, the beginning of modern science fiction. Shelley called it a waking nightmare, a vision that arrived in the borderland between sleep and awareness. From that dream, an entire genre was born. It reminds us that within the stillness of sleep, imagination runs unbounded, sometimes beautiful, sometimes monstrous, but always transformative. Sleep enhances creativity even beyond dreams. During rest, the brain reconfigures its networks, linking ideas that seemed unrelated. This flexibility helps us solve problems, make connections, and invent new possibilities. Studies show that people who nap or dream perform better on creative tasks than those who stay awake. Sleep is the great reshuffler. It takes the deck of memory, shuffles the cards, and deals them into surprising new hands. Artists, scientists, and thinkers have long understood this intuitively. To dream is to loosen the grip of logic, allowing imagination to breathe. When we wake, the world looks slightly different, more open, more possible. Lack of sleep, by contrast, unravels emotional stability. When deprived of rest, we become irritable, anxious, and less resilient. The amygdala overreacts, while the prefrontal cortex loses control, leaving emotions unfiltered and raw. It is as though the brain's emotional compass spins out of balance. Without REM sleep, feelings that should be integrated remain jagged and overwhelming. This is why insomnia often worsens depression or anxiety, and why a single good night's sleep can feel like emotional reset. Dreams do not simply entertain, they heal. Depriving animals or humans of REM sleep makes them more aggressive. Without this nightly emotional regulation, frustration sharpens and tempers shorten. The brain, deprived of its dream therapy, reacts impulsively, unable to smooth the rough edges of emotion. Over time, this creates a short fuse. The reason sleep loss leads to irritability and conflict. Dreams, strange as they are, act as a quiet bomb. They keep the mind supple and kind. Without them, the psyche becomes brittle and easily cracked. Extended sleep deprivation can even make people hallucinate. After several days without rest, the line between waking and dreaming dissolves. The exhausted brain begins to project imagery into reality. Flashing lights, phantom voices, shadowy figures. Hallucinations appear because the mind is desperate for dreams. Denied the chance to enter them naturally, it forces dream fragments into the waking world. Within 72 hours, most people begin to see or hear things that aren't there. This state mimics psychosis, showing that without sleep, consciousness itself fractures. The brain insists on dreaming, one way or another. In ancient Rome, physicians prescribed sleep as medicine for nearly everything: fever, injury, melancholy, even indigestion. They believed rest restored balance to the body's humors, the vital forces of health. Patients were advised to spend long hours in quiet chambers, letting nature heal. Though their understanding was limited, their intuition was sound. Modern science confirms what the ancients sensed. Sleep is the body's most powerful therapy. Whether recovering from illness or emotional strain, rest renews us more profoundly than any drug. To this day, the simplest prescription remains the same. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let time and stillness do their work. In many ancient cultures, dreams were considered messages from the gods. From Mesopotamia to Egypt to Greece, rulers consulted dream interpreters before making decisions, believing that divine voices spoke through visions of the night. These early civilizations built temples of sleep where people lay hoping for sacred dreams of healing or prophecy. Though science now explains dreams as the language of the brain, their mystery endures. Even today, we sense something sacred in them, a feeling that behind the closed doors of the mind, wisdom still whispers. In ancient Greece, the god of sleep was Hypnos, often depicted as a gentle figure with wings on his temples, carrying a poppy stem, a symbol of drowsiness and dreams. His Roman counterpart was Somnus. From his realm, Hypnos ruled the quiet hours, bringing rest to mortals and gods alike. His twin brother was Thanatos, the god of death, a reminder of the fine line between sleep and eternal rest. To the Greeks, falling asleep was a temporary surrender of the soul, a rehearsal for the final stillness. Even now, when we say someone rests in peace, we echo that ancient kinship between sleep and death. Yet unlike death, sleep is not an ending. It is a return, a nightly passage into renewal. In mythology, dreams belonged to Hypnos' son, Morpheus, the shaper of forms. He could take any human shape and enter the dreams of mortals, whispering messages or visions. From him we get the word morphine, named for his power to induce dreamlike sleep. Morpheus was not merely a messenger, but an artist, sculpting images from imagination. His brothers Phobita and Phantasos ruled dreams of animals and objects. Together they formed the Onaroi, the spirits of dreams. In the mythic world, sleep was not emptiness, but a vast kingdom populated by shadows and symbols. The original landscape of the mind, many cultures held sleep as sacred. In ancient Egypt, temples of healing called sleep temples allowed people to rest and receive visions believed to come from the gods. Priests would interpret these dreams, guiding treatments and decisions. In India, the Upanishads described deep sleep, or sushupti, as a state close to pure consciousness, a union with the divine self beyond thought or dream. In these traditions, sleep was not passive. It was communion. Even today, some spiritual practices treat rest as meditation, a way to touch the stillness at the core of being. The Bible, too, is filled with dreamers. Jacob dreamed of a ladder reaching to heaven, Joseph of stars and wheat, and Daniel of beasts and empires. Dreams carried warnings and prophecies, shaping the fate of nations. In Islam, the Prophet Muhammad described certain dreams as a fragment of prophecy, a bridge between human and divine knowledge. Across traditions, dreams were seen as messengers, glimpses of truth from beyond waking life. Though modern science describes dreams as products of the brain, their emotional weight remains profound. They still feel like communication from our deeper selves, if not from the heavens. In more recent times, psychology reframed dreaming as a mirror of the mind. Sigmund Freud, in the interpretation of dreams, called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. He believed they revealed repressed wishes disguised in symbolic form. Carl Jung expanded on this, seeing dreams as a dialogue between conscious and unconscious, filled with archetypes drawn from humanity's collective experience. Whether or not their theories were complete, they changed how we think about dreams. The dream world became not divine, but personal, a stage upon which our inner lives performed their hidden dramas. Modern neuroscience sees dreaming as the brain's way of organizing chaos. During REM sleep, billions of neurons fire, weaving memories, emotions, and fragments of thought into temporary stories. The narrative may make little sense, but the process itself brings order. It integrates experiences, dissolves emotional residue, and resets perspective. In this view, dreams are like nightly housekeeping, the brain sorting through its attic of impressions, deciding what to keep and what to let go. Yet even this mechanical understanding cannot rob dreams of wonder. Knowing why a rainbow forms does not make it less beautiful. Sleep changes with age. Newborns drift through a sea of REM, dreaming half their nights away. Children sleep deeply, their growing brains soaking in restoration. Teenagers stay up late, their clocks shifted by biology. Adults settle into regular patterns, though stress and screens often intrude. In old age, sleep grows lighter and shorter. The cycles fragment, and deep stages become rarer. Yet even a nap can restore vitality. The need for sleep never vanishes, only its rhythm evolves, echoing the rhythm of life itself. Older adults often rise before dawn, their bodies attuned to earlier hours. The shift may come from changes in circadian rhythm or decreased melatonin production, though some lament waking too early. These quiet hours can bring peace. The world still asleep, the air calm, thoughts unhurried. In youth, we chase the night. In age, we welcome the morning. Sleep teaches its own wisdom. Every stage of life has its rhythm, and each rhythm has beauty. Sleep also interacts with emotion differently as we age. Young adults often use REM to regulate intense feelings, while older adults, facing less social turmoil, rely more on deep, restful non-REM sleep. This may be why many elders describe their dreams as calmer or more reflective. The mind, having traveled far, no longer needs the wild emotional storms of youth. In later life, Sleep becomes less about transformation and more about gentle maintenance, a nightly polishing of memory and mood. Technology continues to transform how we sleep. Artificial light, round-the-clock communication, and glowing screens stretch the day far beyond sunset. Many people scroll their phones late into the night, bathing in blue light that tells the brain it is still daytime. Even the soft buzz of a notification can trigger alertness, delaying rest. Smart devices now track sleep, measuring movement, heart rate, and breathing. These tools can offer insight, but they also turn rest into data, another form of performance to optimize. Sleep becomes something to monitor instead of simply experience. Perhaps, amid all the metrics, we risk forgetting its most essential truth, that rest is an act of trust. To sleep well is to let go. Noise also invades modern sleep. City life brings constant hum, traffic, neighbors, machines. Though we may think we've tuned it out, the sleeping brain still listens. Sudden sounds trigger micro-awakenings, preventing deep stages of rest. White noise or gentle nature sounds can mask these interruptions, creating a consistent sonic blanket. In contrast, unpredictable noise, barking dogs, loud music, slamming doors, fragments rest. The world has grown louder, but sleep remains ancient and fragile. Silence, once free, is now something many must seek deliberately. Even temperature shapes how we sleep. The ideal sleeping environment is slightly cool, around 18 degrees Celsius, allowing the body's core temperature to drop, a natural signal for rest. Warm rooms or heavy bedding can interfere, making sleep lighter and more restless. The body's temperature rhythm is deeply tied to its circadian clock. As night falls, temperature dips and melatonin rises. By morning, warmth returns, waking us. To sleep well is to align with these natural rhythms, not fight them. Scent can also affect rest. Lavender, chamomile, and sandalwood have long been used for their calming effects. Studies show that pleasant, mild aromas can promote deeper sleep and more positive dreams. Smell is the most ancient sense, directly connected to brain regions that govern emotion and memory. The right fragrance can ease anxiety and cue the body to relax. A gentle scent, like a whispered memory, can guide the mind softly toward dreams. Some people talk in their sleep, some walk, and some even write. Rare cases document people composing music, solving equations, or crafting poems while asleep. Most such acts are partial arousals, the brain caught between worlds, consciousness flickering just enough to act. These moments blur the line between sleep and wakefulness, reminding us how thin that line truly is. We are not machines that switch off at night. We are living currents, ebbing and flowing through phases of awareness. In sleep, time itself behaves differently. Minutes can stretch into hours within dreams, or hours pass in what feels like a blink. The brain's perception of time loosens when freed from external cues. Dreams often weave events out of order, merging past, present, and future. This distortion may be why sleep feels timeless, a small death of chronology. For a few hours each night, we leave the clock behind, stepping into a world where only experience matters. The connection between sleep and time runs deeper. Sleep divides our lives into chapters, each night a page turned. We measure days by the act of waking, not by the passing of hours. Without sleep, time would blur into endless wakefulness, losing shape. It is rest that gives rhythm to existence. Sleep is the punctuation of life, the pause that allows meaning to form. Dreams sometimes allow us to relive memories long forgotten. The brain, in its nightly wanderings, may reopen the doors of time, revisiting childhood homes, lost friends, or moments that no longer exist in waking life. These dream memories are often distorted, rearranged into new contexts, but they still carry emotion, warmth, regret, or joy. Neuroscientists believe that sleep helps preserve old memories even as it integrates new ones, keeping the archive of the self intact. Dreaming, in this sense, is both rehearsal and remembrance. A nightly act of autobiography written in symbols. Sleep is also deeply social. Throughout history, humans rarely slept alone. Families or communities often shared sleeping spaces for warmth and safety. Even today, synchronized sleep patterns affect relationships. Couples who go to bed at the same time tend to report greater intimacy and satisfaction. Shared sleep strengthens bonds through subtle cues, synchronized breathing, mutual warmth, and unconscious communication. The simple act of drifting off beside another person is one of humanity's oldest comforts, a reminder that safety and connection begin with rest. In many parts of the world, segmented sleep to shorter sleep periods, separated by an hour or so of quiet wakefulness, was once the norm. Before artificial light, people often slept in first sleep and second sleep, with a calm interlude in between for prayer, reading, or reflection. This pattern appears in historical records from medieval Europe to ancient China. It faded only after electric light extended the day. Modern experiments suggest that when people live without artificial light, their bodies naturally return to this rhythm. It seems that our idea of 8 continuous hours may be cultural, not biological. Sleep, like so much of life, was once measured in 2 gentle acts: rest, wake, and rest again. The body's internal clock, or circadian rhythm, is guided by a small cluster of cells in the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This clock aligns with light and dark, regulating sleep, hunger, hormone release, and body temperature. When light hits the eyes, signals travel directly to this region, resetting the cycle each day. Jet lag, shift work, and artificial lighting can all throw it off balance. Regular sleep schedules, morning sunlight, and darkness at night help keep the rhythm steady. Deep inside, we are still creatures of dawn and dusk, wired to rise with light and rest in shadow. Melatonin, often called the sleep hormone, acts as the clock's messenger. Produced in the pineal gland, it increases as evening falls, signaling to the body that night has come. It does not cause sleep directly, but lowers alertness, easing the transition. Artificial light, especially blue wavelengths, suppresses melatonin, delaying sleepiness. Supplements can help adjust timing for jet lag or shift work, but natural rhythm remains best. Melatonin is a whisper, not a command. The body listens only if the world around it stays quiet enough to hear. Cortisol, the body's stress hormone, rises just before dawn. It prepares us to wake, increasing alertness and energy. When stress or anxiety elevates cortisol too early, sleep is disrupted and waking feels restless. The ideal rhythm is a graceful exchange, melatonin descending as cortisol ascends, night handing the baton to morning. This hormonal dance keeps us balanced between rest and activity. When the choreography falters, fatigue and tension follow. Our ancestors designed their lives around this balance. Before electricity, the day began with sunlight and ended with darkness. Work, meals, and community followed the rhythm of the sun. Artificial light shattered that ancient synchrony. extending the day into night. We gained productivity but lost harmony. Many modern sleep problems stem from this disconnection. To sleep well, we must rebuild the relationship with light, to let sunset mean something again, and to greet dawn as a friend. Caffeine disrupts that rhythm more than we realize. The stimulant blocks adenosine, a molecule that builds up in the brain throughout the day and creates sleep pressure. By masking adenosine, caffeine delays the feeling of tiredness. But when it wears off, the accumulated pressure crashes back, often as exhaustion. Its half-life means that even coffee consumed 6 hours before bed can delay sleep onset and reduce deep rest. Some people metabolize caffeine slowly, making them especially sensitive. The best rule is simple: save coffee for the morning. Sleep thrives not on willpower, but on chemistry allowed to run its course. Alcohol, though it may make you drowsy, disrupts sleep deeply. It shortens REM stages, fragments rest, and leads to frequent awakenings as the body metabolizes it. The first half of the night may seem peaceful, but the second half becomes restless. Alcohol also relaxes throat muscles, worsening snoring and sleep apnea. It sedates, but it does not restore. What feels like sleep under its influence is often shallow mimicry. For true rest, the mind must drift naturally, not be forced into stillness. Nicotine, too, interferes with rest. As a stimulant, it increases heart rate and alertness, making it harder to fall asleep. Smokers often experience withdrawal during the night, leading to micro-awakenings. Even vaping before bed can disrupt the body's relaxation response. Quitting improves sleep quality almost immediately. The body, once freed from chemical tension, remembers how to settle itself. Rest, it turns out, depends as much on what we avoid as on what we embrace. Exercise improves sleep, but timing matters. Moderate activity during the day promotes deeper and longer rest, helping regulate temperature and hormone balance. However, vigorous exercise too close to bedtime can delay sleep by raising core temperature and adrenaline levels. The sweet spot is late afternoon or early evening, when the body's systems are most primed for exertion. A brisk walk after sunset, gentle yoga, or stretching can also signal to the body that rest is near. Movement by day makes stillness by night more peaceful. Food, too, influences sleep. Heavy or spicy meals before bed can cause discomfort, while light snacks rich in tryptophan or complex carbohydrates like oats, yogurt, or bananas may promote relaxation. The body prefers a gentle lull, not the labor of digestion. Even hydration matters. Too much water leads to awakenings. Too little causes dryness and restlessness. To sleep well is to listen not only to the mind, but to the body's quiet needs. Some people practice a digital sunset, turning off screens an hour before bed. This not only reduces blue light exposure, but signals to the mind that wakefulness is ending. Reading, journaling, or listening to calm sounds replaces stimulation with tranquility. Over time, such rituals become cues for the body to prepare for sleep. In ancient times, firelight and fading conversation marked this transition. Today, it may be as simple as silence, the small, deliberate choice to close the door on noise and light. Meditation before bed can ease the mind into rest. By focusing on breath or gentle awareness, thoughts lose urgency and drift naturally into the background. Scientific studies show that mindfulness lowers cortisol, slows heart rate, and lengthens deep sleep. Even a few minutes of calm breathing can transform restlessness into peace. In a world filled with stimulation, Meditation acts as the soft landing between wakefulness and sleep, a conscious descent into stillness. Sleep and meditation share a border. Both dissolve the chatter of the mind, both restore equilibrium. In deep meditation, brainwaves resemble those of early sleep stages. Some monks describe entering a sleep-like awareness, where the body rests while the mind remains luminous. Science calls this the hypnagogic state, the twilight between wake and sleep, a place of creativity, vision, and surrender. To hover there, half dreaming, half aware, is to glimpse the mystery of consciousness itself. In the hypnagogic state, the borderland between waking and sleep, the mind drifts through fleeting images, sounds, and sensations that vanish the moment we notice them. You might hear your name whispered, see flashes of light, or feel as though you are falling. These are not hallucinations, but fragments of the dreaming process starting to form before consciousness fades. Artists and inventors have long sought this state, holding objects in their hands so that, as they began to doze and dropped them, the noise would wake them, allowing them to capture the strange ideas rising from the edge of sleep. It is a realm of intuition, where logic loosens its grip and imagination speaks first. A similar threshold exists at the other end of sleep, the hypnopompic state. This is the moment of awakening, when dreams bleed into reality. Sounds or shapes may linger, and time feels slow and fluid. In this delicate phase, insight often arrives uninvited, the mind still half open to the dream world's language. Many people find that writing or reflecting immediately after waking preserves this clarity before the noise of the day begins. Both the falling and rising edges of sleep are fertile ground for creativity and understanding. They are the bookends of the night story. Sleep also follows the rhythm of the moon. Although subtle, studies have found that people tend to fall asleep later and sleep less deeply around the full moon, even in rooms shielded from its light. The mechanism is not fully understood, but it may involve ancient biological cycles tied to light and tides. For millennia, humans marked time by the moon, and its glow once governed when we gathered or rested. Even today, the body remembers. Lunar rhythms still pulse quietly beneath the electric light, a faint echo of the world before clocks. Animals, too, are shaped by these lunar cycles. Corals release eggs and sperm in perfect synchrony with the full moon. Birds adjust migration. Patterns and predators use the brighter nights for hunting. The moon's pull orchestrates life across oceans and forests, linking rest and activity to celestial timing. When we lie awake on a bright moonlit night, perhaps it is not insomnia at all, but an ancient stirring our biology remembering the rhythm of light that guided every creature before us. Weather influences sleep as well. Rainy nights, cool breezes, and distant thunder often bring deeper rest. The rhythmic sound of rain masks other noises and lowers body temperature, both of which promote sleep. Storms, on the other hand, can stir vivid dreams or awaken anxiety, as our ancestors once watched the skies for danger. High humidity makes it harder to cool the body, leading to restless nights. Even air pressure plays a role, subtly changing oxygen flow and mood. Sleep, though intimate and personal, is still tied to the atmosphere surrounding us. We are always breathing the sky, even in dreams. Dreams can sometimes predict illness. Long before symptoms appear, people have reported vivid, unsettling dreams of suffocation, fever, or distress. Scientists now know that the immune system and brain communicate closely. When inflammation rises, it alters sleep architecture and dream content. Fever dreams, in particular, are intense and bizarre fragments of the immune system's battle playing out in imagery. The body speaks through dreams, warning us before we consciously understand what's wrong. To listen to one's dreams is, in some sense, to listen to one's health. Sleep supports healing in measurable ways. During deep sleep, the body releases growth hormone, repairs tissue, and accelerates cell regeneration. Wounds close faster, muscles recover, and the immune system mobilizes. Hospitals now recognize the importance of uninterrupted sleep for recovery, designing quieter rooms and dimmer lighting to mimic natural cycles. Even the timing of medical treatment can matter. Certain drugs work better when aligned with the body's circadian rhythm, a field known as chronotherapy. Healing, like dreaming, follows the clock of nature. The relationship between sleep and memory has inspired new therapies for trauma. People suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder often experience fragmented REM sleep, which prevents proper emotional processing. Scientists are exploring ways to stabilize sleep so the brain can safely reprocess memories. In some studies, targeted sounds or gentle vibrations timed with REM cycles have helped reduce distressing dreams and improve mood. The hope is that, by restoring the rhythm of sleep, the mind can heal itself. Night becomes not a place of torment, but of quiet repair. Music can soothe that process. Slow rhythms around 60 beats per minute, matching a calm heart rate, help entrain the body toward rest. Lullabies, ocean sounds, and soft ambient tones synchronize brainwaves into theta and delta ranges associated with deep sleep. This connection explains why humans across every culture sing to children at bedtime. The voice is the oldest sleep aid, a living rhythm that tells the body it is safe to let go. In that lull, generations have found comfort, mothers to infants, lovers to one another, the earth to itself. Sleep deprivation, however, can unravel even the strongest minds. Chronic lack of rest is linked to depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. The brain, unable to clear waste or regulate emotion, becomes inflamed and sluggish. Decision-making falters, empathy shrinks, and creativity dims. Long-term insomnia increases the risk of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, due in part to the buildup of toxic proteins like beta-amyloid that are normally cleared during deep sleep. The saying, "I'll sleep when I'm dead," hides a grim irony. Without sleep, life itself shortens. Rest is not indulgence, it is preservation. The modern world often celebrates exhaustion as proof of dedication. Sleeplessness is worn like a badge of honor, the mark of ambition. But biology will not be cheated. The body keeps its own ledger, balancing lost rest with fatigue, illness, or burnout. True productivity does not come from ignoring rest, but from respecting it. Creativity, focus, and kindness all grow from replenished minds. The quiet hours of sleep are not wasted time, they are the workshop, where tomorrow's clarity is built. Many cultures honor this truth in their language. In Japanese, the word inamuri means sleeping while present, describing short rests, taken openly during work or travel, a sign of diligence, not laziness. In Spain and Greece, the siesta remains a cherished pause in the heat of the afternoon. In Scandinavian countries, babies nap outdoors in the cold air, believed to strengthen immunity and calmness. These customs remind us that rest can be woven naturally into life, not hidden or postponed. To rest is human, not a flaw, but a rhythm older than civilization itself. Even the planet sleeps, in its way. Forests rest at night, slowing photosynthesis and closing stomata to preserve moisture. Oceans quiet, plankton rising and sinking with the day's light. The earth rotates under a cosmic blanket, its creatures breathing in synchrony. Every sunrise is a collective awakening, every sunset an invitation to stillness. We are not separate from that cycle, we are part of it. Our need for rest is the earth's rhythm playing through us. And so, when you lie down tonight, remember this: sleep is not withdrawal from the world, but return to it. It is the body's ancient language of balance, the mind's nightly renewal, the spirit's soft rehearsal for eternity, the stars above. The heartbeat within, the breath that slows all speak the same message. It is safe to let go. Close your eyes. Feel the world grow quiet. The ocean of night is vast, but gentle. You are part of its tide, and it will carry you safely to morning. Good night.